Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This is a quick video, sort of thank you really. Concerns over the strength of this shelving versus the weight of that when it's full of water. It holds about 25 litres, so that's 25 kilos. That's a lot of weight, and there's no way that's getting filled up until I've sorted the problem out. The strength of these shelves is in the four corners, the vertical strength, which is virtually impossible to break. So the only way that's going to be safe up there is to distribute its weight across the four corners, not this bit here, which you can see is slightly sagging now, and this is only plastic. There's not really a lot of strength there, and I don't believe it would hold the weight. I had borne that in mind, but there isn't another sensible place to put it. I can't make a shelf with the structure of the building such that it would be strong enough to hold that. So this is probably the only sensible place it can go. And concerns about losing a top shelf, yes. I did appreciate that the plants that used to live there will have to go somewhere else. In addition to that, that was one of my display shelves for things that are in bloom. Yeah, so that they were nice and visible every time I walked in. I'll work on that. Moving plants around is not a big deal. And at the end of the day, if some sort of board was put on top of there, I could still stand a few plants on there for show purposes, so I'll work on that. But I think the sensible way forward here is to get a strong piece of wood that actually goes over the top of the four corners, and that way when this stands on the top it distributes the weight directly to those four corners and doesn't put any weight in the middle at all. Literally, the weight will be purely supported by the four legs. And like I say, vertical strength is incredibly strong. It's what buildings are based on. That's why they stand up. You know, if you built, you know, buildings on a slope, they wouldn't be strong. So, you know, leaning over, I mean. So that's that bit out of the way. In addition to that, I'll have opinions. There is a bit of effort involved on my part, which I don't mind doing. My talk's coming up on Friday. Now this is the talk you've seen, the 45-minute Growing Orchids in the Home one. But I have revamped it. There's quite a lot of video clips in there now, and quite a lot of the text slides have been taken out or greatly reduced, so that there's less words to read while I'm talking. So I haven't finished it yet. I'm going to put the final clips together today and produce the video, but obviously it's a silent movie. If you'd like to see the final version, I'm quite happy to put a soundtrack on there, but you will have to bear in mind that a fair proportion of it you've already seen and heard once, so it will be repetitive. Nonetheless, I can do it if you'd like, but that talk goes out on Friday. It's got to be ready by then. So if you want to see the final version, I'll probably be able to get it posted on Wednesday, so that you've got a couple of days to look at it and make comments, but I won't have time to make changes. But I'll quite happily post it on YouTube if you'd like to see the final version. Apart from that, that's it with this video. It was just a quick chat, and thanks for the ideas here. I'm still working on it, but I think the idea of getting a strong flat piece of board across the four corners is the safest way, because quite honestly, if this gives out, if this cracks, first of all it's gonna drop that downwards in some direction, which could land on plants. It's also going to deposit the water all over the place, and it would not be a happy bunny, you know, if that happened in the middle of the night. So yeah, appreciated. But I need to have the header tank somewhere in here. It's got to go somewhere. Now, it could go on that lower shelf, yeah? But if I put it on the lower shelf, I can't put a flat board across the four corners. So I'd still be having trouble with the weight and the way it would be presented to that shelf. So it's got to be up here. I mean, it could go up there, but that's a bigger shelf to lose plants on, and it's closer to the glass. That's much more important, that shelf. And there isn't really anywhere else. I mean, somebody said I could have a shelf below the Vandas. You ever tried fixing a shelf to movable glass doors? I can't have anything on this wall. It's moving glass doors, so that's out. I could build a structure here, but there again, I want the fogger there. So if I've got the electrics and everything here, I've got stuff running across the floor, which I'm not happy with. By having that there, the electrics just live up round the corner there and up to there. So, you know, they're not in my way. I'm not going to trip over anything. And this little thing here, you know, the siphon, I mean, that can just be strapped down that leg, you know, with a bit of, you know, loose stuff at the bottom for allow it to be moved around. So that's the only logical place for it. It would live on one of these tables, but then I've lost a table. Yeah? So process of elimination, that's where it's going to have to go. Once it's set up, I'll have a room for some small plants. Yeah? And as I said, if I get another piece of board across the top of it, I could put some plants up there. But it means every time I've got to top this up, I need to move those plants. But I'm hoping this water is going to last a fair amount of time, so that wouldn't be a big deal. The plants is not the problem. The problem is the weight, and where the weight is trying to apply pressure, where there could be a break point. This is the break point here. You know, there's a hole drilled in there to take that bar. This is a weak point, quite honestly, and that's where a lot of this weight is sitting at the moment. So it's not getting any more weight in there till I've sorted this out, and we'll go from there. There's no new blooms as far as I know. Let me have a think. What did I see when I was watering? Nope, there's no new blooms. So we haven't got any of that to do. There will be. There's several Tolumnias that are going to open soon. The orange cattleya up there will be open better, you know, with a few more blooms, have another, you know, better look at. Oh, I will say one of my air plants has decided to bloom. That's quite attractive. Yeah, I mean, it has bloomed before that one. In fact, I think it bloomed on all of the new growths on that one. But yeah, it's good to see that growing and producing a bloom. They don't flipping last long, that's for sure. And the trouble is with the way they work is that you spend all the time pushing up a nice new growth, and then the growth starts to turn pink, which basically says, hello, I'm going to bloom. And then the flowers come out, and then that's it with that. You know, that bit isn't going to bloom again, it isn't going to grow, you've got to wait for another new growth to come out from the base. So it's a slow process, but they live up there out of the way, they don't do any harm. I water them when I remember, so they're not a big deal. But apart from that, I'll leave it at that, because I do have quite a lot of things to do today on the filming front, which is to go into that talk. I need to get those clips done and get that thing finalised, or time is just going to creep up on me, and I don't want to be panicking on Friday trying to get something ready for that Friday evening. So we'll go from there, and I'll see you next time. And again, you know, thanks for the concerns. It was a worry for me, but when other people start seeing it, then the worry becomes a problem, and the problem needs a solution. And the only sensible solution I've got is a strong piece of board to distribute the weight across all four corners, and that is then vertical weight, where the shelves, these legs are plenty strong enough. I suspect if I stood on that corner it would take it, because it's vertical, yeah, and these are metal, yeah, so there is good vertical strength there. It's just a matter of distributing that tank's weight over all four corners, which means no one corner is taking the whole weight. They take a quarter each. That might not be good maths, but sounds okay to me. Right, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.